Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, ES has been balancing in a very narrow range, and we know that it will likely tip one way or the other today. On the upside, we have resistance at 76 quarter to 78 half, and on the downside, we have support at 68 to 70. The larger time frame bias continues to be bullish, but short term, our bias is neutral, and we're open to a move on either side, with the understanding that in order to get a upside breakout, or any kind of sustained upside breakout beyond 76 quarters, 78 half, we will have to see some broad market strength and sustained upside momentum. If we can get some decent upside momentum, then we can get a break through 76 quarters, 78 half, fill the gap at 79 quarter, and then potentially retest the all-time high at 21.85, which is really the final resistance level here. And in order to break out above 85, of course, we need to see continued upside momentum, and then there is no hard resistance beyond 21.85. On the downside, we have support at 68 to 70, and technically buyers can still maintain control and step in as long as ES is holding above the initial support zone. And in the event of a break below 68 to 70, the next area of support is 63 to 65. Technically, responsive buyers can be active there, but that's a zone where we do need to exercise some caution. So if the market is breaking down on higher volume and high momentum, then we'll have to exercise some caution at 63 to 65 and determine whether there is a lack of weakness, or if it looks like a failed breakdown attempt, or if the volume is extremely light and we think that the market is just exhausted into 63, 65, then perhaps it can serve as a long entry, but it is a discretionary idea. The 58 half to 60 half zone is higher probability to attract responsive buyers, and in the event that we go through that, the 52 quarter to 53 quarter and 46 to 49 would continue to be valid support areas where responsive buyers can step in. But if we are going to maintain the short-term bullishness that we've seen in this market, then ideally you want to see ES holding above 68 to 70. That would mean we're holding above yesterday's lows, we're still within yesterday's range, and then we can go higher and tag the open gap at 79 quarter and potentially the all-time high at 21.85. NASDAQ in the overnight session hit the 48.02 high volume node that was mentioned in yesterday's trade plan, and so far we've seen some selling come into the market off of that HVN. So we'll keep an eye on NQ as well, because that is a market that has been relatively weak and it is weighing on the S&P. So ideally we want to see a lift in NQ, and then that can take some pressure off of S&P and open it to some more upside. But if we start seeing some strong selling come into NQ, then it could lead to some more selling in the S&P as well. So right now we have to have a very flexible and nimble short-term bias, and that's why the short-term bias is set to neutral, and we do have to be open to a move in either direction. And then in real time we have to determine what kind of environment we're in, how the internals are shaping up, how the real-time momentum situation is shaping up, and which side is more likely to press or is actually pressing in real time. So 68 to 70 is going to be important off the open to establish short-term bias. On the upside, 76 quarters, 78 half is going to be important short-term resistance, with the idea that we're probably going to take out either initial resistance or initial support. We're not going to continue balancing this extremely narrow range, and whichever way we get that break, most likely we will get some level of continuation in that direction until we hit the next important support or resistance area. Lastly, Janet Yellen is set to speak at 9 a.m. Central Time. Now, it's a prepared testimony and it's already out, so there may not really be much of a response in the market, but just something to keep in mind. So those are the main thoughts heading into the open. Let's see how ES responds to 68 to 70 and 76 quarter to 78 half, and we'll take it from there.